Hey you guys, welcome. This is Real Talk Houston with Carlotta B. This is season 4, episode number 2. Today, you guys, we have a really special guest in the house. This is our edition of Classroom Chronicles, the whistleblower edition. Our teachers are in a major crisis, and we really need to come together and do something about this. Today we have an interview with a 20-year veteran in the education and school system industry. Her name and her face will remain anonymous for security reasons and her job security. Okay. Welcome, ma'am. We're so thankful that you came forward today. Welcome to Real Talk Houston. Thank you guys so much. So I want to start out initially with asking just a couple of questions about who you are and getting to know why you got into the industry. Talk a little about your methods and your tactics. But first, I want to read some statistics about what is happening in our school system. First of all, I want to let you guys know that 80% of school and district leaders report that they are satisfied with their jobs. And that's a recent survey that was conducted by Ed Week Research Center. However, at the same time, another survey shows that 50% of teachers with 10 or fewer years of experience plan to leave. Same thing for the educators that have 11 to 20 years worth of experience. They plan to leave, okay? Educators that have 21 or more years of experience state that they definitely plan to quit sooner than they had planned for. So this kind of lets us know that by these stats that the leaders are in indirect contact with these students and what's really happening at these schools, and the teachers are actually on the front line. So they're catching the brunt of what's happening every single day at these schools. So let's go ahead and get started here now that we've got our stats out there. Today we're going to be discussing, you guys, and this is just the start of the list. There's a lot of other topics that we're going to touch on today, but we will be discussing school stabbings. There's stabbings going on at the school. We'll talk about teachers' suicide attempts. There's students getting oral sex on the stairwell, oral sex on the buses. Kids are in the bathrooms, and we're talking kids as young as age 9 and 10. They are in the bathrooms doing drugs, drinking alcohol. A lot of the schools are hiding threats, and we'll talk more in detail about that and let you guys know exactly what that means. There are safety risks at the school, lack of security, inappropriate behaviors, and this is down from the teachers, the educators, down to the students. A lot of inappropriate activities going on at the schools. So again, that's just a little bit of what we're going to touch on today. Want to start out by just asking you, when you first started in the school and education industry, what were your objectives? I'm sure you had a positive outcome of what you wanted to do in the school system. So tell us, when you first started in the school and education industry, what were your initial objectives?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. My initial objective for becoming an educator was to reach the children, to be an advocate for children. I always wanted to be that one person that kids could always count on, and that one adult that they could trust. And so I found myself being drawn into the education field. They say that education is not a job that you choose, it's a job that chooses you. And so by going along with that, I started initially, my first few years of teaching, it really was not exactly what the school had prepared me for.
Okay.
As far as the behaviors from the students, the parents, the administration, all the way up to the school board, it's just, teachers we're fighting a losing battle, and we cry out for help.
Yeah.
And no one hears it.
So when you first started, you had no idea that it was going to be what you've been exposed to.
No, ma'am.
And you found that out early on when you first started teaching, or did it take, 1, 2, 3, 4 semesters to kind of see what was going on and realized, oh my God, this is ridiculous? It was pretty brief.
It was
almost
short. Instantaneous.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. So
Yes.
it didn't even take a long time for the beast to show its head.
No, man, before Halloween and school starts in August.
Wow. 20 years. We're talking to a 20-year veteran, you guys, and she's saying that she pretty much immediately realized this. And 20 years into the game, it's even worse. So imagine that 10-year span, the rate of how what's happening in the school system has progressed. Okay, how do you manage stress and maintain your work-life balance as someone that's in the education industry? How do you do that?
Honestly, it's a battle every single day. Every single day. Some days are good and some days are worse. And the hardest part about it is that no matter what struggles we go through, either on the job or at home, no matter what, we still have to put on a mask and a face and continuously try to do the job when we have so many other things internally that are tearing us apart.
What's going on? Does what's happening at school, I know it has a major impact on your home life. And a lot of teachers have families, they have children, that encompasses a husband, children. So you guys are at school and dealing with all of this during the day, and you have to go home and try to be a mother and a wife, and also at the same time take care of your own self. I know that's a challenge.
It is almost impossible there to find that balance. And unfortunately, a lot of educators and teachers, they self-medicate. There's a cause and effect, and the effects from what's happening in the schools are just incredible.
It's incredible.
Yes.
Wow, I can believe that. Can you share an experience where you successfully navigated a challenging situation in the classroom? I know there's many, but maybe the most recent.
Yes. There was an incident where there were some inappropriate things happening in the classroom as far as children lashing out verbally, children beginning to squabble with each other, taking out their anger on the nearest adult. There was one teacher that was actually tackled down to the floor by these students. And the only thing that I could do at that point was I actually had to physically put myself in dangerous ways and sit in the middle and to try to diffuse the situation, because this was an older teacher that they were attacking. So, and it's sad that, to me, that's been one of the most successful situations that I've handled.
You put yourself in the middle
many times
and just try to diffuse the situation.
Yes,
so that means you put your own self at risk.
All the time. There's been several teachers that have been kicked and bruised and fingers cut off from kids bringing blades, and just unbelievable things. And
that's a lot. How do you guys is there any protection for the teachers? I mean, what is the school system doing for you guys to protect yourselves? I know that at one point they were talking about, having the teachers being, allowing them to bring guns to school, and I don't think that law was passed, but how do you guys protect yourselves? What techniques do you have? And you can't really hit the students these days because the teachers will get in trouble for that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the best thing for you guys to do is what?
Besides
you putting yourself at risk and standing in the middle, what else can you guys do?
We have no other option.
No other recourse. Nothing else to do.
There's nothing.
What about? A lot of teachers say that if they send them down to the principal's office, the students are glad about that because they're out of class. So they'll just go sit in SAC or detention for a while, but they're like, so what? At least I'm not in class. So that option does not work anymore.
It does
Can't
not.
paddle the kids. You can't really put your hands on them. It's just a bad situation for the teachers and the educators, right?
It is absolutely horrible. When some of the kids get sent to the office, they come back with treats.
Wow, so they're getting treats to go get in trouble.
Correct.
Right?
And the few children that do behave are left behind and not noticed at all.
Wow. With belligerent students, I know you just said when there's a situation or an altercation between the students themselves, you put yourself in the middle and that has seemed to work. But if the students are belligerent and say, for example, they're trying to fight you, and if you try to fight back, or how do you protect yourself? How do you protect yourself?
We can't. There is no way for us to protect ourselves. If we walk away, then we are considered, we get in trouble for that. If we stand in the way and stop the fight or whatever's going on, then it's still our fault because we didn't do more.
Right.
If we get injured, which we do most of the time, we go and report it to the nurse or what have you. Then they want to fight us for workman's comp, and we want it.
So you teachers are not protected, period.
No.
They want to fight you to get workman's comp if you need to take some time off. They don't protect you in the classroom. They don't give you an no outlet, no recourse, no methods to protect yourself, no training on maybe physical tactics on how to, corral a student, and, nothing to protect yourself, basically.
The only people that are allowed to take those special classes to allow you to restrain are the people that are in, for example, like in the special ed department.
Okay.
Or the administration. Anyone else, they are not allowed to take those classes for self-protection.
So only the special education teachers are allowed to take self-protection type classes.
That is correct.
If you guys opt to take these classes yourself outside of the school, is there any type of reimbursement program for you guys?
No.
This is you taking the initiative. So basically, a teacher or an educator would have to spend their money to take a self-protection or some kind of martial arts course to try to protect themselves. So that's money that'll come out of your pocket if that's something you want to do.
That is correct.
And I know you deal with probably students that are bigger than you, especially if you're talking about boys. And some of the girls are, these students are healthy. No protection for yourself if you have to deal with a boy either.
No, ma'am.
Right? Nothing.
No, ma'am. And in addition to that, even if we do decide to take these special classes and pay for them out of pocket with no reimbursement, we're still not allowed to touch the kids, even to protect ourselves, because we're not in that particular position which requires you to use it. So it's a vicious loop.
Yeah, it's a losing battle.
Yes,
it's a losing battle. You think that has a lot to do with the turnover of teachers, the revolving door of teachers?
Absolutely.
That's one reason. I know there's plenty, but that's definitely one reason.
Yes,
it's hard to keep a good teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, teachers have to be called. It's almost like a nurse or a doctor. It's not something that you wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go teach today, or hey, I want to be a nurse. I do believe you, and I agree when I feel like that's something that you have to be called for. Anytime you're in a service type position or a saving type position, and you're responsible for a large number of people, you have to be called for that.
Yes.
Everybody just can't up and go just assume these type of positions. And I know, like you said earlier, you started out with good intentions. You wanted to make a difference. So, and I hate that it's happening for you. As far as bringing a positive vibe to the classroom, class is totally out of control. How do you remain positive to try to keep the kids that do want to learn? How do you foster positive vibes with those students that are there to actually learn? How do you keep it positive?
Well, that is the hardest thing to do when internally from external forces from school cause you to be so sad, and depressed and on alert and anxiety.
Yeah.
What a lot of teachers do is we try to incorporate music into the curriculum.
Okay.
And that really does seem to tame the beast. Again, we have to be very careful with what type of music we use. Most of the time we do try to use a lot of kinesthetics and classical music for our movement.
Okay.
And that seems to calm them down.
That helps and kind of calms them down a little bit.
A little bit.
That's good. When it comes to the parents, I know, and I got a lot of messages on my page from teachers and educators, and they wanted me to bring up a lot of these situations, a lot of the problems that they're facing, and a lot of the problems that they're facing have to deal with what the topics that we said we were going to discuss. A lot of them are saying the same things that they're dealing with. So it puts me in a situation to where I want to help. I'm the type of person to try to solve everyone's problem, right? But I know I can't do that. But I know a lot of people around me that are in the education industry, and they're all just almost miserable. They're in love with the holidays and their vacations. They're happy, but when it's close to time to go back, they just go into this depression. So let's talk about the parents real quick, and then we're going to talk about all the things that you've been seeing. When you have to deal with the parents, are they receptive to what's going on with their students? What kind of communication do you have with the parents, and how is it received when you talk to them about what's happening with their children at school?
Yes, ma'am. For the most part, most of them are not receptive of things that we tell them. They blame us. They say it's our fault that their kids are cussing us out. It's our fault that we are asking them to finish their assignments. How dare we ask them to do anything? And when we have that type of response from the parents, they immediately, the districts, that immediately take the sides of the parents. And What? Yes, ma'am. And the children, they even talk about, oh, we're going to get this teacher fired for this and this.
Wow.
And they go up there to the school with their parents, and yes, I have seen a lot of teachers lose their job behind lies.
Wow,
Yes.
Behind lies. Teachers losing their jobs behind lies.
Yes. And
the school system, the school district is taking the side of the parent and not the teacher.
Yes.
Why? What is the purpose for that? I mean, are they afraid the student is going to leave and go to another school? Is the parent going to sue the school? I mean, why, or is there no protection for the educators?
This is a great question.
It doesn't make sense at all.
No.
Oh my God. Now I know why. I talked to one teacher, and when I was doing my reviews and my surveys and talking to different people, but there was someone in mind that sent me a message. It was a gentleman, and he said that he literally wanted to just punch a kid one day, and he said he had to leave the classroom, walk out, and just go pray, because that was the only thing that was going to save him from punching a kid. And of course he was going to lose his job, but he also knew that there was nothing, the school wasn't going to do anything, and he would just be out of a job. So and a lot of teachers are going home. One lady said that she just go home and she cry all night. She's looking for another job, haven't found anything yet, but her conflict is teaching is her passion. She loves it, but she's absolutely miserable. She's miserable. So again, I want to thank everyone for giving me those messages, and I'm trying to relay them. But what we need to do is find a solution to all of this. And I know it's not going to happen overnight, but there needs to be some kind of exposure on what's happening with these schools, because it's really not fair that these teachers and educators are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to educate these children, and they're fighting a losing battle. They don't have the support of the school system. They do not have the support of the parents either. So, and that's another kick in the face. You try to talk with the parents to get them to help out with what's happening at school, and they're just as bad as the children in a lot of cases. And that is really, really sad. So let's get to the meat and gravy about all of the crazy stuff that's happening that you've seen in school, what you've heard, what you've been exposed to. Let's get to all of that. So talk to us about the stabbing. You said there was a stabbing. Someone got stabbed at school at one of the school districts.
Yes, at one of the school districts, there was a teacher who was trying to get some money or some lunch money to hold for a student. It was a younger student.
Okay.
When the teacher reached to hold the money for the child, they were headed out to recess.
Okay.
The student had a knife in his hand and he almost cut her pinky finger off.
Ah, really?
This is in a local district in the area.
Wow.
Yes.
And what happened to the student? Did he get suspended or
They suspended him for 3 days and
3
then
day
he
suspension
was back at school.
for almost severing a teacher's finger, let
Yes.
alone even having a knife at school?
Yes, ma'am. And the teacher never returned back to work. That was her first year teaching.
Oh, sad. Did not come back to work.
No, ma'am.
So sad. Talk to me about, I know I heard that you said also in another district that there was a suicide attempt by one of the teachers. Can you talk to us a little bit about that without saying exactly which school or which, keep it generic please, but still talk to us about what happened.
Yes, ma'am. This particular teacher herself, a veteran teacher, 20 plus years,
Okay.
had been dealing with the same stressors and non-support and violence for years, and this school year was especially difficult for her.
Okay.
With the students. Again, not getting any support caused severe depression. First time in her life she was placed on antidepressants.
Okay.
And then those weren't doing well for her, and she, before Christmas break, she attempted suicide.
Okay. She went home and tried to kill herself, basically, right?
That's correct.
Unbelievable.
From what I was told, that she kept screaming, these kids are gonna kill me.
These kids are gonna kill me. These kids are gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And she wound up trying to kill herself.
She's now in a body cast.
God. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you have a story about, I received a story about, someone told me that in one of the school that she works at, that she saw kids just out in the open on the stairwell engaging in fellatio. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Engaging in fellatio, you guys. These kids are 9 years old, barely 10, on the stairwell, out in the open, let alone doing it, period, but out in the open,
Yes.
having oral sex. And you tell me about your story, what you witnessed in that along those lines.
Yes, there were 2 elementary school students who were also caught on the bus engaging in fellatio. Neither one of the students were suspended. They were put in SAC for, again, the famous number 3 for 3 days.
3 days.
And returned back to class as if nothing happened.
Did anyone talk to the parents about this, or?
No, ma'am.
No, I'm sure they told the parents. I know the parents will call. Please tell me someone called the parents.
No, ma'am.
So you telling me the parents have no idea that their child is on the bus engaging in fellatio?
They have no idea.
And these are young kids.
Yes.
Young kids.
Young.
How do you think there's no telling where they're seeing this, right? A lot of children they spend all day on their phones, and actually they're at school in most cases on their phones. They get with their friends, they're on their phones. They come home at night, they're on their phones. So parents, unless you guys have a child lock or internet restrictions on your child's cell phone or their tablet, yeah, you should probably do that. And do you suggest they go back and look at their history also? And then that's another way that you'll automatically know what your child is doing as well. Go back and look at their search history and see what they're doing on their phones. Just be more present with your children.
Yes. An electronic device is not a babysitter.
Yeah, and it's not a baby's friend. Yeah, it's not a babysitter and it's not their friend. And 9 times out of 10, they're not doing their homework on their cell phone, okay, or their tablet.
They are not. They are not.
Yeah.
And another sad thing about it is these same children can barely read and write.
Right. Yeah, they're not learning anything at school, but they're learning what they shouldn't be doing, right? Talk to me about the kids that you see that are in the bathroom smoking weed, drinking alcohol.
Yes.
You caught that as well at one of your schools or at the school.
Yes. Drinking alcohol, vape pens.
Vaping too?
Vaping.
Okay.
Yes, the THC vapes.
THC vapes.
Again, elementary, guys, in case you didn't know, is from pre-K through 5th grade.
Pre-K through 5th grade, you guys, elementary school. Unbelievable.
Again,
Unbelievable.
the famous number 3.
3-day suspension or 3 days in SAC, and that's it. So have you had any parents to come up to the school and say, you know, hey, and try to correct their child in the moment? Because back in the day, parents did not play that. If we get a call and saying our children are acting up, we're going to leave work, get in the car, go to the school, yank them out of the class,
right.
Check them in whatever way you check your kids, scare the bejesus out of them, and then send them back to school. And in most cases that worked, but that was back in the day. So now, what are the parents,
most of them, if they answer the phone, most of them have blocked the school numbers.
They don't even want to receive a call from the school.
No, ma'am. If they do respond, it's always negatively.
Wow.
Why are you calling me? Don't call me about this. I don't care what
they don't want to hear it.
They're with you now. They're not my problem right now until dismissal.
Wow. No way.
Yeah.
That is really, really, really sad. What about the safety risks? I know there's one topic where the school is not really taking threats seriously. Some schools are receiving threats, and I don't know if they're making an automatic decision. Oh, that's fake. Oh, they're not going to do anything. Oh, that's nothing. They're not taking it seriously. They're not doing anything to protect you guys. And there's no metal detectors in a lot of these schools. The doors are all open, so anyone can walk in. Talk to me about the safety threats that are being received and swept under the rug.
Over the years, I have seen many, many safety threats. The most recent one was a threat that involved a lot of violence towards a particular establishment.
Okay. And when you say establishment, you mean school, correct. Is that right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And the issue was not brought to any of the teachers' attention immediately. We were not,
even told about it.
No, and apparently this particular threat had already been put out before we had come back from vacation.
Wow.
And redone more recently and updated to reflect the current week.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So not taking receiving threats, you guys, not taking them seriously. The teachers and the children have no protection at all. So whoever issued that particular threat that she's talking about could have easily come to the school and carried out the threat. So that's bad. That's really, really bad. So inappropriate behaviors, I know there's also, and we're talking about the kids, we're talking about the school. There's also teachers that are behaving inappropriately. How do you feel about these grown men and women that are sleeping with these children or having relationships with these children?
I think that that is one of the most disgusting, harmful abuse of a power.
Yeah.
That you have as a educator.
Yeah.
We are supposed to be that, like I said initially, that one person that kids can trust.
Yeah.
And for anyone to abuse their power.
Yeah.
And take advantage.
Yeah. What do you think should happen to a teacher that has an affair or a hidden relationship with a child? What do you think should happen to them?
I think they should be penalized to the maximum of the law.
Yeah. And a lot of them are, but can you imagine how many relationships out there that we know nothing about that's going on? I mean, people are being uncovered every day, and it just makes my skin crawl that there's grown-ups out there that are doing this to these children.
Yes. I've known quite a few, unfortunately. Not in the elementary level, but in the middle school and high school.
Middle school and up, yeah.
And it's sad. I think that they shouldn't be able to ever be free. They should be locked up for the rest of their life. Yeah, because that's a form of molestation. Yes.
And rape.
Yes.
Actually, if you want to break it down to legal terms. And the final thing, because I know we're running out of time, but I also had a lot of comments, and I know one person in particular, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but they're telling me that they have children, again, 9 years old, 8 years old, and one lady said she have, I think her youngest was 6 years old, in class, being managed with themselves as well as touching the other students as well.
Yes.
So what is going on with all that, all out in the open like that? Do they not care?
I have seen that personally in my own classroom when I was teaching the smaller kids, and even up to 3rd, 4th grade, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And initially, we go report it, tell the counselors.
Yeah.
And if they, more than likely call CPS.
Wow. Yeah. Because they have to be seeing that somewhere, right?
Yes.
Either
ma'am. That is not a learned
on
behavior.
their phones. They're either seeing it on their phones, seeing it at home.
Yes.
And they're reenacting what they're seeing, because there's no way a child should know anything about self-pleasure or pleasuring someone else like that at that age. Again, we're talking, one lady said ages 4 and 5. Now it's different when a child, a baby is like, hey, what's this, on themselves. But yeah, they're doing it to other people at an age where they know that there's something wrong with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Something's wrong with that.
It's definitely starting to trauma.
Yeah. Okay, final question. Do you have any proposals, or if you could wave your magic wand and fix this problem, from a political perspective, really, what can we do? What can we do to change what's happening at the schools and make it a safe learning environment for the children, and a safe and pleasurable and fulfilling, thriving environment for the educators? What can we do?
Well, first and foremost, I think that there needs to be open and honest communication with parents.
Yeah.
Volunteers. It needs to go all the way up throughout all of the grade levels.
Yes.
All the way up to administration, to the school board.
Yeah.
There needs to be laws put in place to where teachers are able to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Even if that just means blocking a punch, we should not get fired behind that.
Yes. Protecting yourself. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. More security. As educators, we really thought that after all of these unfortunate things that have been happening within schools, we'd be protected more.
Right.
We're protected less.
Yes, which makes no sense at all.
No.
Not even the same protection or more protection, but less protection.
Yes.
Yeah. Security, definitely needs some measures there, because if the parents aren't safe, the students aren't safe, that is such a major problem.
Yes.
And I think the parents also, as you stated, should do more to make sure they're more involved. Just because the kids are at school does not mean you have nothing to do with them during the day. And a lot of times the kids are acting out at school because of something that's happening at home as well.
Yes,
So we just need to be more conscious of our home environment with our children, and making sure that they are up, ready, and off to a positive start every day, going to school and wanting to learn.
yes, ma'am.
So, okay, well, thank you guys so very much. If there's any other topics that you guys would like to see us peel away the layers on and talk about, please let us know. And again, this is season 4, episode number 2, Classroom Chronicles, the Whistleblower edition. And I feel like we may have another show, because I know a lot of people want to talk more about this. But thanks again, you guys. This is Carlotta B, and this is Real Talk Houston.